Welcome back. I'm Upload and this is day 24, 25, 26, 27 of my 50-day challenge doing VCV rack experiments. Yeah, I know, it's been a while since I've made a video about my experiments. Except of course for the music video I put out for Allotropes, my drone EP that I released in these intervening days. But before that, there was this track, Braiding Harmonics, I called it. And what's going on here? Well, it is one of the layers in Allotropes, adding some harmonic sounds, some subtle changes throughout the track. The same clock going through Bernoulli gate, attenuated so that we have some variation here in the probability. I'm not actually using this upper channel in this layer, it's for one of the other layers, but the clock goes to this layer as well. And it's this one that brings variation into the probability here. Anyway, this triggers our Turing machine, which is quantized here into F pentatonic, though I've tuned it here to F because that is how it works out in the tuning after lowering the coarse tuning of the macro oscillator. So it actually goes to C. I'm using a scale of C. The main drone using VESEC is in C. But so these two together bring out the right tones. Alright, so I'm using the macro oscillator braids here to generate some nice combed tones, going through the filter, slew limiter, for some modulation here on the cutoff, and this goes, the sound line goes through Oliverb, and for some reverb here, and Camilla the time stretcher. So it's all a bit, how shall we say, stretched out, smoothed over, and then we get these really nice sounding melodies. I thought it was nice enough to put out on its own, so I made a track of this just on its own, which is enjoyable by itself, I think. So I called that Braiding Harmonics, and if you're listening to the EP either on Bandcamp or on YouTube, you may discern these tones in there. Alright, so that was day 24, I believe, yes. And then on day 25th, of course, I did something different while also mixing allotropes. Let's open that one, day 25. Whoa, yeah, that is quite a different patch, a different sound. So what's going on here? We have Topograph, which is really nice as a sequencer. It's being modulated heavily here by this LFO, well, this combination of LFOs, then with some offset, And again, we're using the Turing machine. Quantize to a Lydian. And again, braids the macro oscillator in a different setting here. And yeah, sometimes this LFO goes completely crazy and then it comes down again. It's quite interesting, I think. So we have this voice. Here is from Tides. And the other one I'm not actually using, so there's only one voice. What's going on? Oh yeah, see, it's been a few days, I forget. So the output of this oscillator goes through Debriatus with some saturation and wavefolding, and then that goes into the texture synthesizer Clouds, also heavily modulated as intended, and that I send into Tangents for some filtering, and here also the cutoff is modulated after some slew limiting to not get too wild changes, but it comes from this LFO. So we have one voice only, but it's quite a bit going on, I think, in the patch. I found it really interesting, and I called this Fifth Force just because. And that was my day 25 patch, and then on day 26 I made this patch. So that was yesterday, after I finished mixing Allotropes, my drone EP, and releasing that. Later that day I made this for something completely different. Again, using Topograph, and here going through the map. The X value here, we travel through that from this very slow, seriously slow LFO, and the other one comes from the quad sequencer after I divide the clock here. Well, it's not really a clock, it's the accent of this first channel of Topograph goes through the clock divider, divided by 13, nice Fibonacci divider, and that drives the tempo on this sequencer channel, and as you can see, it changes very slowly. The chaos parameter here is also modulated, again from the clock divider, goes into this sample and hold, and then through an offset. The main three channels here from the quad sequencer are clocked here by these channels from Topograph for the rhythm. And then, yes, when the seriously slow LFO gets to almost halfway down, almost 6 o'clock, something crazy happens here. Anyway, so I've had this sequencer, tuned up the probability a little, and then go through the quantizer. I made my own scale in Scala. That's an external program, external to VCV Rack, and I made this 7-tone scale, double harmonic, based on the Turkish Arabic Bastanikar. So you get something different from Western tuning, and I think it sounds really nice. Although we're using the resonator here, so it's overall quite percussive, but it's tuned percussion. So we have one at the 0, the middle octave, one at -2, and one at +2. So this is our first resonator here. Then we have the second one. No, it's the left and right channel of these, which I wanted to pan not completely left and right, because that is what resonator does. I've panned them like closer to the middle, because we have another resonator, this one, which is that higher sound, which goes completely left and right. So together, I think it works out better, spread out over the stereo spectrum. And then finally, we have the bass. It's like almost like these Tibetan bowls or something, but they're really bassy. I love this. I really love this. And so together it's quite almost dancey. And there's a bit of swing here. I was really pleased with the result for what was quite a quick patch that day. Alright, and then Today we got the sad news of the passing of Anthony Bourdain, one of my favorite TV personalities that I really appreciated, not only for his food and travel, which are great by itself, but his personality is so honest and well-spoken. And just his ideas, his philosophy of life and so on, I really appreciated him, and he's gone too soon. So I'm feeling a bit sad today. So I'm using D minor in the quantizer, again 3 voices. Today I'm using this clock from MSC Hack because it's really easy to get different divisions and multiplications here. So I have 3 different clocks going into the sequencer, so each channel has a different clock setting. Alright, we have the bass is the first channel here, is the normal clock at 61, because Bourdain was 61 years old. This is just going straight, repeating the same line over and over again. Again, using the comb filtered what is it, sine wave? Comb filtered sine wave, I think. And going with quite high drive and resonance, and then again some wave folding and saturation here. I'm only using one channel because it's the bass, just can be mono in the middle. That's great. Alright, next voice. This one from the cloud generator, the sine out, again with some distortion here, and we're using this envelope. I'm using the Bernoulli gate so that we have some variation, some stops in the melody now and then. And this is modulated from this LFO here. Quite sad sounding, I think. And then there's this really, this higher organ sounding melody from this wavetable, from braids in the incarnation of Cornrows X, going through Camilla as time stretcher and the new Ferox filter from Volt. And together it sounds like this. Okay, that's what I've been doing with VCV-Rec for the past few days, and let's see what's happening tomorrow. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Stay with us. Hope to see you again tomorrow.